All right, moving on to chapter 9, section 1. Okay. We're looking at different transformations of objects and images, and we're starting off with translations. We're going to be looking at dilations, symmetries, and rotations, and different things like that. So we're starting off with translations and not translating from like Espanol to English. We're talking about translations as in a shifting of an object. So, some words that we're going to be using throughout this whole chapter is our pre-image or image, and then isometry. So pre-image is always your original image. So if I have an object that I start with, okay, if this right here is my first image, the first object I started with, that would be called my pre-image. Okay, so the first thing I had would be my pre-image. After I've moved it or I've changed it, okay, this has been shifted over. This one is now my image. Okay. Okay. So that's now my image because it's been shifted, it's been changed in some way. Okay, and that's the new figure. So that's going to be your image. Isometry is basically just saying that the two objects are congruent. So if you didn't manipulate it as in twisting it or making it bigger or smaller or pushing just the top of it, making it a different shape, they still would be there still would be isometry, which means that it's congruent, it's the same. So a translation is always going to have that. The objects are still going to be the exact same, they've just been moved. Okay, so naming parts. So whenever we have our object and we are shifting them from one point to another, the original one, the pre-image, will be named, so A, B, C, D, and the image, the new one, is always going to be primed. So the point A is now A prime, which is used that little apostrophe. B is B prime, C is C prime, D is D prime. Okay, so the new image is going to be the primes. The original image is going to be just whatever the letter is. Okay, so that is when we're naming an object, or if you see it written, the one on the right would be your image, the one on your left would be your pre-image. Okay, because of the little apostrophes and which one's your which one's the prime and unprime. So that prime stuff comes up more often in other branches of math. So that little apostrophe is something that you'll see fairly common. Okay, so a translation. So a translation is any type of slide left, slide to the right. Sometimes you crisscross, but anytime you slide an object from one point to another, okay, that's going to be your translation. So describing a translation is used as follows. So this image, which the red one is our image, or is it our pre-image? It's our pre-image because it's not the prime. The blue one would be our image because all those points are prime. You can kind of see it. You kind of have to squint for it, but the blue one is. So if the red one is our original, we just want to know how much is it changing. So every point should be shifted the exact same. If they're not, then it's not a translation. It's something else wonky. So what we do here is that we just want to see, okay, from W to W prime, how much has it changed? So it's gone over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's gone up 3. So that distance would be x plus 5, x plus 3. When you describe your translation, you have to write the entire thing. So you say xy is becoming x plus 5, y plus 3. Okay, so you'd say this is becoming that new number. Okay, and if you check with all the points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, they all should be the same. Okay, they're all moving the same amount. Okay, that's your translation. Now, a composition of translations is basically a combination of two different transformations. So we're going to be talking about more transformations that we have. So you could slide something and flip it. You could flip it then rotate it. There's different things that you could do with it. And these are called compositions. So if you're combining two of them. Easy one that you can think about for those of you that play chess is if you have a knight, okay? So the knight moves in an L-shaped, so you go up 2 over 1. That would be or you move one direction 2, and then you move 90 degrees 1, either left, right, up, down, whatever it is. It's always moving in this type of shape. Okay, it always moves in an L shape, no matter how you do it. Those are compositions. Okay, so we've got two different translations. We've got our north-south change, and we have our east-west change. Okay, and in translations, it doesn't matter which one comes first because you're going to end up in the same point. Just like if, again, those of you that have played chess, if you want to hit, let's just make a quick grid. Okay, if you're sitting here and you want to move to this point here, you can either move up to over, or you can move over then up. They're going to get you to the same place, just depending on which one you do first. Okay, it's still, I mean, that's what a composition is. It's multiple transformations combined into one. You can have more than two, obviously. You can do 100 transformations if you want, but so that's what a composition is. So like the previous example that we had, that would be an example of a composition because there's two. We have moving 5 east-west, and we have moving 3 north-south, and that makes it our composition. Okay. All right, so here's your homework for this section. Make sure you work on it. Make sure you do all that stuff with translation. We're going to be moving on to like rotations and reflections and everything as we move on through this chapter.